Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to review The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. So this is the first book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and I just finished it 3 days ago, I don't know. So I decided to film this review while I still remember everything that I want to say. As you can see, I tabbed it up. I have some colorful tabs. I'll let you know the meaning of the colors, but I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. I'll have my Instagram link down below. I also posted a photo there and I mentioned the meaning of each color there as well. So as always, I'm going to have a spoiler-free review section, and then I'll let you know, and I want to talk about more specific things. So if you haven't read this book and you want to, and you don't want to get spoiled for anything, I'll let you know, and you can just pause the video, come back later once you finish it and watch the rest. So what can I say? I read The Hobbit a few years ago. It was actually a Christmas present, and I always wanted to read The Lord of the Rings, but it took me a long time to get the books, and I'll explain why. I don't know if you can see clearly, but I have this edition of The Hobbit, and I wanted my books to match. So I wanted this specific edition, because they all match now. And maybe, I usually don't care about the edition or the cover that I get. I usually don't mind getting mismatched copies, covers that don't match together, but for some reason I just really wanted these four to look nice. And yeah, there you go. So my boyfriend actually got these for me for my birthday this year, back in April, and I was so thankful because every time I found one of these books, I could never find, for example, The Two Towers. Or I would find The Return of the King, but not the other two. It got to a point that I couldn't find any, and I actually thought they changed the cover and they wouldn't have these anymore. So online, they're really expensive, so I never got them. And he was able to get all three at the same time. So obviously, I started with The Fellowship of the Ring, the first book in the series, in the trilogy at least, and I enjoyed it immensely, I have to say. A lot of people sort of warned me before I started that, oh, it's really dense at times, it's very descriptive, and it gets sort of tiresome because it takes a long time for something to happen. There's a lot of description of their surroundings, and sometimes that's not fun. And so I was expecting to be quote-unquote bored at times. Actually, I mean, I can tell you that there was this one chapter that took me a long time to read. It was, maybe I was tired that day, because looking back now, it's not a chapter that I would think, I don't know, it's not that dense, it's not that long. Maybe I was just tired, but it's just that one chapter that I just didn't really enjoy. Doesn't mean that the book is not good. I was surprised to see that this is very different from the films. So one thing that I've noticed on BookTube is that a lot of booktubers from the US mostly have said that they read Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or works by J.R.R. Tolkien when they were children. And here in Portugal that didn't happen. Like, I know 2 people from university that said they did, but honestly, I don't know if they were just showing off. I think in Portugal, unless you were an academic, maybe you already knew about these books, but children, my generation, didn't. And we started getting like really excited about Lord of the Rings because of the films. And I didn't even know that there was The Hobbit before The Lord of the Rings. I didn't know there was a book, and I didn't know it was a prequel, sort of a prequel. I just didn't know. So I know the films quite well. I've watched the films dozens of times. I was not expecting to be this surprised. I was expecting things to be different because they always are. The same thing with the Harry Potter books. Obviously, some films are a bit different than the books, but I was not expecting this much. I enjoyed it a lot, but I enjoyed the fact that I was just so surprised the entire time. It felt like I was reading something for the first time. I didn't explain myself right. So obviously I was reading something for the first time, but it was like I was getting to know the story for the first time. And yeah, I had the movie, the basis of the movie, but the book was just so much better. I like the book so much. There's just so much that they didn't include, and I understand why. The films are already so long, and if they had included all of this, I don't know, maybe they had to have 2 films for the Fellowship alone. But it was just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. About the tabs, so I have orange, blue, pink, and yellow. So orange are the Hobbit references. I found a lot of references about the book, The Hobbit, and that was fun because I didn't know that was going to happen. Blue is just the history of the ring, old history. I could have more because when they start talking about it, they just continue for a lot of pages. So what I did was I marked the first page when they started, and then I know that I have to continue if I want to find something. If not, I would have like 10 pages in a row with blue tabs because they just talk a lot about it. Pink is Gollum, because there were some like direct references to him in the sense that they're actually talking about Gollum, and then there were moments in which it's not very specific, but you understand it. So I tabbed those up. And yellow is Aragon and Arwen. So they're my favorite characters. What else can I tell you? I think a lot of characters are different. They're stronger, more mature, rational, just focus. They're better in the book. I'm sorry, the characters are better in the book. Even characters that used to annoy me. Frodo annoyed me so much. My goodness, Frodo annoys me so much in the film because he's always whining. He's always whining. I can't stand him. So I was a little bit concerned I would have to read this entire book and the other 2 and have to deal with Frodo the entire time. But he's much better. He's so mature, very different. Just he's not a kid. In the film, it just feels like he's a teenager. He's not, I know, but it feels like he's a teenager. He's always whining and crying and whatever, and it just doesn't come across as being like a really strong character like Bilbo was. Bilbo was strong in the films. I really like Bilbo. I think the casting was perfect. And in the book as well, I loved him. But Frodo, I was really concerned. And he's sort of an example. But most of them are better in the book because there's so much to them, you know? They're not just superficial. They have sort of a development. Even in the first book, you can see a lot of character development. So I really, really enjoyed it. I have some specific things that I want to talk about now. So if you haven't read this book and you don't want to get spoiled, that's fine. But I'm going to talk about specific things now. So just know that before you continue. Where can I start? I was talking about the characters. Aragon is so much better in the book, but there was no Arwen moment. And in the Fellowship of the Ring, in the first film, they have a lot of moments together. And in here, no, that doesn't happen. There's this moment when they're trying to get to Rivendell, and if you remember the films, you know what I'm talking about. They hear a horse coming, and they think it's one of the Black Riders, so they hide. And then there's this line that says, but Strider was now leaning forward, stooped to the ground with a hand to his ear and a look of joy on his face. And I was like, oh my goodness, he knows Arwen is on her way. This is so cute. They're gonna meet for the first time. It wasn't. It was just some elf. I was, really? But I still tabbed it up because I wanted to tell you about this scene. Then there's this moment when Frodo wakes up in Rivendell and they go and have dinner. And there are a lot of people there. And Arwen is there. And we have a description of Arwen, but Aragon is not there for some reason. And later on, and this is another thing that I want to add. Later on, Bilbo, yes, they are talking to Bilbo after that dinner. Frodo is talking to Bilbo, and Bilbo is making up a song or something, and he wants Aragon to help. And he says, "Where have you been, my friend? Why weren't you at the feast? The Lady Arwen was there." Like, Bilbo knows. And that's something I want to say. Bilbo and Aragon have this amazing friendship in the book. It's so beautiful. They, like, you see, Bilbo already knows about Arwen and Aragon. They know, at least he knows something is there, because I don't know their relationship status at this point, because literally they didn't have any interaction. So I don't know if they're just like each other. I don't know if they talk. I don't know if they're together. That's nothing happened. So, but I like that Bilbo said that. It just made me feel really happy that he said that. And they really have this beautiful friendship, and that doesn't show up in the films, not to this degree at least. And remember when they have the council and they organize the Fellowship of the Ring? First, it's not called a fellowship, it's the Company of the Ring, which I was a bit, what? The book is literally called the Fellowship of the Ring. Couldn't you just say the Fellowship of the Ring? No. It's the Company of the Ring. So when they organized the Company of the Ring, before that, I don't know if you remember, Boromir was always a bit dramatic, obviously. And he is a bit dramatic in this book. Not as much, really. And he was trying to talk down to Aragon. And Bilbo got tired of it. And he explained who Aragon was. It wasn't Legolas. In the film, it's Legolas. But in the book, it's Bilbo. And I just love their friendship together. It was really, really beautiful. There were a couple more passages that are somehow related to Aragon and Arwen. When they're about to leave Rivendell, it says that Aragon sat with his head bowed to his knees. Only Elrond knew fully what this hour meant to him. The others should be seen as gray shapes in the darkness. I do think that this is about not just Aragon's future and heritage, but also his future with Arwen. And Arwen's father knew. He was the only one that knew why he was like this. There were a couple of things. So definitely something that I was expecting. I was expecting to have specific moments of Arwen and Aragon together. That didn't happen. It's fine. I think it's going to come, obviously. But I also enjoy the fact that it was so subtle. And I like that Bilbo played a part in it. It was just really cute. And then, yeah, we have Gollum. Like I said, I have Gollum here tabbed up in pink. Gollum's character was really well explained. They explained right away how he found the ring and what happened, and I just really liked all the background because you really understand how powerful the ring is, and you get that in the films, that the ring sort of chooses where it wants to go. But in the book, it's just so well portrayed, it's just so well described. You really get that feeling of power more than the film, I guess. Another thing that I found really interesting is that it takes us a long time to leave the Shire. A long time. They just travel, like in the film, I thought the Shire was just really, really small, like a very small region. It's not, because we have the map here. This is just a part. It says here, a part of the Shire. All of this. And I was not expecting that. Also, I really enjoy all the background story we got on Frodo, because I didn't know how Frodo was. I mean, they are seen as like uncle and nephew in the film, Bilbo and Frodo, but here we get a lot of information about how the Hobbit like family dynamic works, and how Frodo's more direct family treated him, and how mean they still are and jealous. I just enjoy all about it. It's just very, very interesting. One thing I have to say, this is a major spoiler, but Boromir didn't die. What gives? I was like, literally, I was on page, my copy is 407 pages long. I was like on page 402 or 403, and Boromir is still here, and I was like, what is happening? Like, Boromir is supposed to die. It didn't happen. I was like, what gives? Because in the film he dies. So there were things that I was expecting to happen that didn't. Arwen and Aragon and Boromir's death. And then it's just pleasant surprise. It was really, really pleasant. There's this character that unfortunately didn't make it to the film. I think it would just be wonderful. So in book 1, when they're traveling out of the Shire, I think they're still in the Shire. They go into the old forest and they come across these really mean trees that try to kill them, and they ask for help, and they start shouting, help us, and this guy shows up just dancing around and singing, Tom Bombadil, and he saves them, and they go into his house, and he has this lady there, I forget her name now, I think, Goldberry. Goldberry lives with Bombadil, and they have this really nice country house, and he's sort of a master of the forest, and they just have all of this food, and the house is comfortable, and it's just so whimsical. I can picture flowers everywhere, and just like out of a fairy tale. Like, these two characters were amazing. I love them. It's so fun, but at the same time, they complemented the story so much. It was beautiful, really. I'm just so upset they didn't make it to the films. I'm pretty sure they didn't. I don't know if there's like a reference or something. Honestly, I haven't watched the films in a very long time, but honestly, I don't think there is. It's wonderful. Yeah. In terms of the description, sometimes I think I could have finished this book a lot quicker. It took me more or less 10 days to finish it, which is actually not bad, because it is a little bit over 400 pages, and usually it takes me a long time to finish a book this long, because I'm a slow reader. But I think that sometimes it was so dense in terms of the description of their surroundings that it got me tired. And I love visual description. I love when books are descriptive, but I think it was a little bit too much. But anyway, I'm very excited about starting the Two Towers. I think I'm going to start the Two Towers this year still. I don't think I'll finish the next 2 books before the end of the year, because I go back to work in September, and yeah, my reading always slows down a little bit at the beginning of the school year, but I'm going to try, because I just had a lot of fun. And I'm just super excited to continue. Let me know if you have read The Fellowship of the Ring, The Lord of the Rings Part 1, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree with me or not. Were you surprised, like pleasantly surprised? Were you not so surprised? Were you just bored the entire time? Because I know a lot of people told me on Bookstagram that they couldn't finish the book. It was just not for them. I understand. It's not an easy book, but I loved it. So let me know down below. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.